Welcome to Eastgate, a place where nature and industry collide, where lush green parks meet the smokestacks of heavy industry, and where the beauty of balance is brought to life. On this channel, we'll explore the art of building unique cities, from sprawling industrial zones covered in grime to ultra modern, eco friendly neighborhoods full of greenery. Each episode will dive into a different aspect of city building, whether it's creating efficient industrial zones, designing neighborhoods that follow the landscape, organizing traffic, public transportation, or, of course, my main area of interest, designing pedestrian zones. So there was going to be a lot of parks, walking spaces, crossings, under crossings, and so on. Here I was trying to build a major warehouse that will be used, or that was used by the old port back in the day. At least that's what I imagined, and also probably used by cargo train at the moment. But unfortunately, the choice of the asset is not really big, and there's only two, as far as I managed to find, there was only two warehouses. I tried using the warehouse that comes with cargo train station, but every time I tried to place it, it would crash the game. So I stick to this one here. This bridge here will basically be the main connection to our city, and I'll probably revamp it in the future, possibly with more tracks, more highway tracks, or maybe even train connection for our cargo port in the future, and a new harbor as well. Interestingly, I had no issues with the traffic so far. I know the town is still pretty new, pretty young, if you will, and there's not much traffic going on, but compared to some other builds that I did in the past, there was no real trouble with the traffic. No bottlenecks. I have some rough ideas of what to do with this bridge in future episodes, but any kind of comments or suggestions would be welcome. This one here is definitely my favorite intersection. I kind of hate roundabouts, to be honest. So that's the reason why I chose to use intersections for the most part in this build. I think they are much more effective, honestly. If they are executed properly, they are much more effective at handling large amounts of traffic compared to roundabouts, which basically just slow down. But I think intersections are not only more effective and practical, they also look better. This one here, on the other hand, is a bit more complex, but also shares the same idea behind it. Basically, a connection to the main highway from two separate parts of the city, basically. So that one is obviously made combining custom roads that I built using a road builder mod and just the usual vanilla ones, which are these two one-way tracks that will run through the whole city, basically. This neighborhood here, called Palmer Creek, I'll probably rename it later on, but this is like a core of the town. And my idea was that this one was built much earlier than compared to the highway, obviously, and port and all of that. So that's kind of like a core part of the city. This is definitely my favorite part of the city. Using UK assets, UK pack assets. I think this is the best content creator pack so far, because there's so much detail involved, and the houses look lovely, and they are just beautiful. They are beautiful for creating these cozy little spaces, and look at those details. That's pretty good. That's pretty good. I love this. Greenhouses, tool sheds, and stuff like that. And this definitely the highlight of the whole pack is this church. I think church/cemetery. I just love these textures on the walls and graves themselves. There are a lot of Easter eggs as well, but you probably already know that. Oh man, there's so much pedestrian traffic here. I guess I'll have to build some crossings. But it's kind of cool to see, though. Okay, hopefully this one here will be enough to satisfy the pedestrian need in this zone. I usually use 5-meter height for pedestrian bridges, and it's pretty much the same in this situation here as well. Connecting it to the other side will be a bit trickier, since there's a bit more elevation difference compared to the other. All right, let's check it out from different angles, I guess. Not too bad. All right, let's flatten it a bit more. So I think I'll use the alley road here as well. Just okay, that's fine. I'll try to bring it as close as I can to this highway. And of course, keeping it straight as much as possible. It's not working as well as expected, but it's alright. Trial and error, just as always. Well, I guess I'll just try without snapping this time. Yeah, it seems like this won't work either. Yeah, I'll definitely have to go without snapping, and I'll try to bring it as close as possible, just so it's nice and straight, but also just so it's nice and straight, but also very close to the highway. I think it should work this time. At least it seems so. So yeah, it kind of worked without snapping. Okay, so now I just want to finish this segment. Just all the way to the intersection, but yeah, I'll have to redo the bridge after all. Yeah, honestly, before I didn't have idea of doing this before I started the bridge. Okay, just snap. Don't snap. Come on. It's a bit tricky because there's elevation on the highway. I mean, it's going uphill, and for some reason, even though I turn off the snapping, it still wants to snap to the road. Sometimes, even though Anarchy is on as well. So, but anyway, I'll just connect it to all the way there, close to industrial buildings, to have this kind of circular shape. So I imagine it would be used by cars and trucks to turn around. And, I mean, it would kind of make sense in an industrial area, at least in my imagination. But hopefully we'll see more usage of this bridge and less of people walking along the highway. All right, I think it turned out pretty cool. And it definitely makes the whole area look more interesting and a bit different, you know. I'll add another crossing right here, just from this roundabout to the industrial, leading to the industrial area. And I'll try to connect it just right to the roundabout, so it's nice and easy for people to walk from the neighborhood to all the way across the highway. Now I'm gonna detail this small coal plant and kind of pretend that it was built a while ago, and it should be. I will probably shut it down later on once I build proper coal plant and use it kind of like a historical area, I guess, or a landmark. So it's gonna involve a lot of decals and surfaces and graffiti. this section of the city, I wanted to build something that is still kind of cozy and feels sort of at home, if you will, even though it's in the middle of the city and pretty urban area. So I chose these semi-detached British houses, and my idea was to create this. Little park in between, using some pedestrian paths and a lot of trees and bushes, of course. And I think it looks pretty nice. I'll follow the same fashion to spawn more of these semi-detached British houses. So it should be pretty much the same or similar as the previous one. Now that most of them have grown, I can do some more detailing in this section. Once again, following the similar pattern of adding some simple detailing with paths and greenery. Alright, not too bad, I guess. But one thing to keep in mind, these corner ones are slightly harder to do because they don't tend to spawn properly, so to speak. So I usually place them by hand. It's using the Find It mod. And the reason for that is because they always need specific configuration of the tiles. The system is still kind of broken, to be honest. So even the slightest change in the positioning and stuff like that would change how tiles are organized. But anyways. I'd imagine these neighborhoods wouldn't be so cheap either, since they are pretty close to the urban area of the city and like a little cozy place right in the middle of town. So it's kind of cool and convenient, I guess. So I will also do some paths inside this lot, just like the previous one, surrounded with trees and bushes and making it look like a park as well. Alright, so couple of final adjustments, and I think it looks pretty cool. It looks pretty cool already, but I'll add a few more oaks and bushes. And that's much better. I'll start a new district just right next to these semi-detached houses. So this one should be like a slightly cheaper place, since it's kind of at the outskirts of the city in a way. And there should be mostly UK houses as well, but mostly those 2x2 ones. Oh, we'll see. So for now, I'll just do the basic road layout with a roundabout at the end, of course, and a couple of extensions on this section as well. But even though it's perceived as a cheaper place, not so nice since it's close to the highway, I still want to make it feel nice, still make it feel nice and cozy. And it's going to be surrounded by a lot of trees, of course. So I'll just speed it up a little bit while I wait for them to grow. Okay, now it's time to do some beautification as well. So oaks and alders mostly. And some bushes, of course. There's never too many bushes. So like I said, I'm using mostly these 2x2 UK detached houses, as they look really nice. In my opinion, and they are pretty cool and just perfect for areas like this. And I'll use them a lot throughout this build because they're just so good. I think they are perfect, not only perfect size, but they are also nice fit to any of these narrow kinds of neighborhoods where you need to cram a lot of houses into small space. Pretty much the same as I did in Palmer Creek as well. Another thing that I like to do is every time there's a neighborhood like this, I love surrounding it with a little sort of forest. It's not real forest, but there's definitely a lot of trees. So it's kind of nice and tucked in, in between inside of this green wall. And so I guess people living there should have a bit more privacy compared to majority of the city. And yeah, that's the idea. So after some more development, this new neighborhood looks like this. I've added some of these UK and German mixed zoning, mixed commercial. I think it's much nicer now, and these buildings really add to the whole vibe of this place. So I imagine it as kind of a older part of the town, actually, even though it's developed later than the rest of the city, but we can imagine that, right? So anyway, these ones really fit here nicely, I think. Almost perfect. I always loved these sorts of buildings where shops are and on the bottom, and there's like 2 or 3 stories of residential above it, so it's kind of cool. So adding some more of these detached houses, and they are nicely kind of flanked by these mixed zone ones. And obviously I'll do much more detailing in the future episodes, but for now I think it's pretty good the way it is. Just gonna add a few trees and bushes to finish things off. Alright, so I finally managed to build a proper coal plant, which is probably going to be a main source of income for our city. So it took me around 5 loans, I think, just to build everything that I needed as a major coal plant, and later on I built recycling center and expanded on some roads and to stabilize economy, sort of. But I guess it wasn't pretty smart thing to do, but there's no other way to do all of these things so early on in the city development. But Majority of the loans are paid off now, and we should be back in the green soon. Hopefully. So I decided to do some detailing of the big coal plant, just using the old pavement surface. And I also decided to purchase these two tiles, just so it doesn't feel like cheating anymore, using Anarchy to build it. What I also like to do with parking lots is removing their own surfaces, so it kind of feels more integrated and natural, if you will, with pre-existing surface. It kind of blends better. Couple of decals and just make sure that everything is connected to the road. Also doing some expansions of the parking. Well, I'll try to make it look as good as possible. It's kind of tricky with these lines, especially if you are trying to make a curve. Another problem that occurs with a lot of parking lots, not always but usually does, is that these decals that are pre-built in, they just kind of disappear. So solution to those disappearing decals is to either move the lot around or to just use the separate decals. Also had to relocate these maglets to a safer location. And I'm trying to do the best as I can to create the docks. I'm not best at doing that, but I guess it's good enough. We'll have problems with these leftover parts of the ground, if you will. Here I'm building some warehouses that will be used by the coal plant as storage units, or maybe some other industry in those industrial robots. Nothing major, just basic detailing. really hope you enjoyed this short episode, and I guess I'll catch you in the next one.